Okay, hello guys. I apologize for load shedding problems. We are sorted now. We are live. All our speakers are ready for your questions. So welcome back to the Financial Freedom Festival. This is the final session, which will be a Q&A and a recap of the sessions that Rudy and Landi had. I would just like to start off by congratulating everybody that's attending. Really, really well done. I think personal and professional development is an important part of your career, and well done on investing in yourself and actually trying to gain knowledge on topics that are very critical and important. And I think knowledge is not the property of one individual or institution, but it's hidden in discussions between people that are actually intending on learning something new. And I think that is what Golden Key is trying to create. We're trying to create discussions on educational topics. So please join us on social media, interact with us, give us some ideas. Let's try and change the world. So
Come on.
I think just with the logistics of this session, we're going to split up the session in 30 minutes. We have lost a bit of time with load shedding, but we'll make it up as the session goes along. So Rudy will start and have a 30-minute session to recap his presentation and then the questions that were sent in from the Google form. And then Landi will have a 30-minute session. Then we'll take a 30-minute session to answer the live Q&A questions. If you guys have awesome questions that you've been thinking of, please drop them in the Q&A section, and we'll get to them after Rudy and Landi has had a chance of recapping their presentations. And then at the end, we're going to have a wrap up where the PPS prizes will be announced. So if you're feeling lucky, please stay tuned until the end. Maybe you win a prize. And then after the event tonight, later tonight, we're going to be sending you guys a post-event document with a small summary of the sessions that happened, and some contact details. And Rudy loves giving away free things, so please look at it. I'm going to give you something. And then, yes, I would just like to say thank you so much for our partners, the Wealth Room, GDT Wealth, and PPS for making this happen. Golden Key, the Golden Key team, well done, guys. And then the post event will be on YouTube. Golden Key SA has a YouTube channel which it will be posted on within the next week. And then Stellenbosch Golden Key is going to launch a YouTube channel with this event. That will be the first thing on the channel. So please check that out. And yes, enjoy the final session, guys. I'm going to give it over to Rudy. Ask any questions that you have for him.
Awesome. Thank you, Shawnee. That was a really impressive quote, and it's definitely one in one of my banks, my quote banks. I am one of those quotes unquote people. I use quotes all the time to make myself sound smarter. So yeah, and I just want to say to Landi, last night's session was incredible. Man, you are a woman of power. Absolutely awesome. And yeah, thank you so much for that, Landi. Those of you who weren't here last night, Landi blew off the roof with absolute amazing wisdom. We are privileged to have women like you in South Africa, and I am just honored to starting to get to know you. So thank you for what you shared, and you came prepared, and you definitely knocked our socks off. The one thing I did struggle to understand, though, is seeing a woman as classy as you eating noodles. I bet you eat ramen these days. But what it did remind me, Landi, is that we all start somewhere, and it is phenomenal. And that's what I want to speak on tonight, is just realizing that where we start in life doesn't necessarily have to always paint a picture of where we will end. And particularly in our South African, state of affairs, there are so many people impoverished, and something like speaking about financial freedom is a privilege in its own right. And I just want to remind every single one of you sitting here tonight on a Friday night with a working internet, and you are able to watch something that will teach you about how you steward your finances compared to absolute impoverishment. So we must realize how privileged are and where we all start. Look, I know we all have different stories, and that's a story for another day, but just first and foremost to realize that we all start somewhere. And what that looks like right now for you, maybe you are 10 years ahead of everyone else because of different privileges that you may have, or maybe you are 20 years behind because of a past and things, circumstances that put you behind that were not in your control. I just want to remind you that each and every one of you have something inside of you that can conquer anything. And I want to just remind you that what's inside of you is also your responsibility. It's something that you need to own up to. It's something that you need to realize and be able to affirm when you look at yourself in the mirror. You need to know that you are worthy and that you are the person that you are right now. You are intended to be. What you are learning right now is what is setting you up for that success that is in your future. But if you don't start believing that and looking at your circumstances as something that's not sufficient to your liking, you're going to train your mind to always live in the future. You will become somebody that can never be happy in your now because your future always has more. If you do not realize that your true happiness is in your present, or that you are afflicted by your past, the latter will always haunt you, and it will be the reason why you do not succeed. So the moment you succeed and start getting financial freedom is the moment you realize that you have a responsibility to your life and those around you. Once you start living in a way that you want to build things to empower others, you start living free of all the claws of comparison and rejection and anything else, because you have a purpose. If you want to know anything about purpose, please go read Simon Sinek's book, Know Your Why. It is phenomenal. And then also go read the book by Napoleon Hill called Think and Grow Rich. It will definitely impact your life after this. So I want to just reiterate what I spoke about on Wednesday evening. And thank you so much for your phenomenal response, guys. I mean, I've just gotten so much love from you guys. And I just want to say, that's so amazing to see how a bunch of young people would respond to something like this. And I would want to do more stuff like this. Maybe Lundy and I can meet up and we can maybe start some more forums like this. I really think there's a place. But yeah, let's talk about it at another stage. But thank you so much for your response. And I've got some amazing emails from you guys. Sorry that I haven't responded to all of them, but you have inundated me with a lot of love. But I will get back to you. And so basically on Wednesday night, I just spoke about, that life has certain principles to them and that you cannot debate it. It's a law. It's like the law of gravity. And I used an example of, if I have to drop this pen, there's no point in arguing with me that it's going to hit the ceiling, because it's going to hit the ground every time. Even if you put a trampoline there and it does hit the ceiling, the law will apply it to go back to the ground. So there's no, you'll be foolish to have a debate around something like that. And I just see too often that people have debates about things that they put their opinion on, but the law of that principle does not allow for it to apply anyway. So you extend so much energy into something that's not going to work. And the only reason why people do that is either they are foolish, they're very prideful, or they do not understand how the principle works. So Lundy gave us such an amazing outlay last night on, what happens after you learn how to apply a principle like this. How do you actually act on that? But there's something about the foundation of who you are as a human that needs to grip something. You need to have a revelation of some sort, right? Because most of us are so entitled, and the entitlement comes from when we are small. If anybody's Afrikaans, I just hear little babies always saying myne, myne, and that says mine. They're always grabbing onto their toys and saying it's mine. Now that entitlement starts there, and it's part of our human nature, believe it or not. We are perfectly flawed in many ways. But if we can get to learn that our life is not ours and that we need to just be free in the way that we live and the way that we think about money, we need to understand that there are principles that will make your financial freedom so much deeper, because it will be a part of who you are, rather than money being something that you identify with. Could you imagine if you identify yourself as being a rich person? And that is where all your identity lies. I'm this great, fantastic, rich person. I identify with my Porsche.